Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 376 based on novel. So let's start. The next day, the morning sun rose, and it was a calm day on the Tianqing continent. Have you decided? At this time, the Empress of the Stars Lin Yunshu, Ji Xian, and the Emperor slowly appeared behind Xiao Yang, and the Empress said hesitantly. Since learning that Xiao Yang woke up, the entire star continent was in a state of extreme excitement, but in order to protect Xiao Yang from leaking the news, the Empress did not release the real news. Thousands of forces and people. Saint Yang is really important to me, Xiao Yang also said with a solemn expression. I meditated and practiced in the secret room for 10 days, stabilized my body strength and the power of the devil, and just retired, and just after I retired, I was greeted by these guys, and I felt the warmth of home, and the power of the devil caused me. The sequelae are also negligible. After 3 days of drinking, Xiao Yang and Empress Xingqian formally proposed the matter of immortal flame. When Empress Xingqian heard this, although she had many concerns, she also agreed to Xiao Yang to tear the space for her today and enter the location of immortal flame. As for other matters, such as the secret alliance of the 3 continents, Xiao Yang and the Empress had a lot of conversations. Even if Xiao Yang refused, the senior officials of the Skystar continent agreed with the overwhelming votes. In this way, the endless fire the domain is equivalent to having 3 continents as the base, and it is also a crucial step for its development. Okay, I really can't do anything about you. But there is one thing I have to tell you in advance. Lin Yunshu shook his head with a smile. What's the matter? Xiao Yang immediately listened carefully. Immortal flame is indeed in our Tianqing continent, but it is in a special area, where only the power of the stars can reach. I will pave the way for you later, and send you to Wangtianya. Just a record about the immortal flame, there is no news or records in our royal family. You can only be careful yourself. Lin Yunshu said apologetically. After all, the power of stars has withered for hundreds of generations and only appeared here, so immortal flame is probably quiet and silent for a few days. Thousands of years or even tens of thousands of years. Well, don't worry, my life is tough. Xiao Yang said with a smile, saying goodbye to these guys. There are not many people, only Lin Yunshu, Ji Xian, and the Emperor, but there are also many high-level royal family members who Xiao Yang can't name. By the way, you bring this little guy. She has some power that has the same origin as immortal flame, maybe it can help you. After Shurenshi, behind the Emperor, a little girl with double ponytails like a porcelain doll, pitch black his big eyes looked at Xiao Yang with fear. Senior, I'm not here to play, let me take such a small girl. Xiao Yang hurriedly shied away. Hearing Xiao Yang shirk like this, the figure of the little girl with 2 ponytails burst out, and immediately appeared in front of Xiao Yang after breaking away from the Emperor, with a neat white tooth biting directly at Xiao Yang's arm. You. Seeing this, Xiao Yang felt a trace of pain, and on his arm, a row of neat teeth marks were also left on it. Being able to bite Xiao Yang's dazzling arm, which had undergone the dragon god transformation and the power of the devil, was so red and even painful that Xiao Yang couldn't help but be curious about this little girl. This guy doesn't seem to be us humans. 100 years ago, I tried to break the space and enter the world of forgetfulness. During the crisis, I was lucky to be rescued by her. After bringing her back, she fell into a deep sleep and only woke up recently. The Emperor explained, following the rite. This little guy loves it too. Okay, it's not too late, let's do it. After everyone laughed, Ji Xian said. As soon as the words fell, Lin Yunshu's whole body became bright and clear, and a vast and boundless energy like a star swept away, and slowly blasted away at the sky. Boom! For a time, the entire sky became turbulent, and at the top of the mountain, a terrifying crack that was enough to destroy everything was torn apart. Is this the road to the stars that can step into the specially approved space? Xiao Yang smiled slowly as he saw a path of stars that was as bright and vast as the stars in the terrifying crack in front of him. At this time, in the distance of Tianqing continent, dozens of pure white halos were like a holy ark, roaring towards the palace with the momentum of thunder. No, there are other powerhouses coming. Looking at this breath, it seems to be malicious. I'm afraid it's the people of the Holy See. The speed is really fast. At this time, the Emperor's majestic perception permeated out, and he couldn't help but whispered after the breath. Xiao Yang, let's go. Let's do the rest. Lin Yunshu shouted, looking at the rays of light bursting from his body into white arrows, but there was an unquestionable voice in his voice. Farewell. The endless fire territory, please, wait for me to get out of the customs. Xiao Yang's eyes sank, Then he hugged the little girl with one hand, and plunged directly into the crack, heading towards Wang Tianya. Moments later, the space was closed, and the sky returned to its original clear sky. What are you doing? In an instant, dozens of pure white halos suddenly came here. Looking at the huge crack that had just disappeared, the leader couldn't help roaring. A white robe was mixed with grey and blue, and it was obviously a group of people who were not weak in the Holy See. Holy See believers, disrespectful and disrespectful. After successfully sending Xiao Yang away, the emperor said to the oncoming figures, "What were you doing just now?" The Holy See asked with gloomy eyes. In the space crack just now, they smelled a terrifying force. Just for a friend. Everyone who came from afar, please join the royal family. Please. After speaking, the emperor also gently walked towards the palace compound. As for these guys from the Holy See, you don't need to ask to know that they are here to investigate the fall of the parade angel Mekhl, but with the old fox like the emperor here, naturally not any tale will leak out, but this kind of thing can't quench the thirst of the near. I am afraid that sooner or later the Holy See will find out the truth. At that time, with the Holy See's injuries and shortcomings, whether it is Xiao Tilda or the endless fire domain behind him, and even the Tianqing continent, would probably be a real catastrophe. But these are things to come later. Even with the Holy See's intelligence gathering power, it will take a lot of time, not to mention the help of the Tianqing continent and the Haohai continent, which has given Xiao Yang a lot of breathing opportunities. Yang is also trying to improve himself. In addition, the ancient forbidden area far away in Doyun continent slowly erupted with a strange wave, as if some was about to leave the customs, and only Jiyu Zuna entered the forbidden area. As for the Soul Clan, they were also extremely angry at this time. The fall of Huangtang Hall Master Soul Wuji caused the Soul Clan to put extremely tyrannical pressure on the Soul Temple, but due to the demonic power on Xiao Yang, they did not dare to act rashly for a while. And the most strange thing is that at the last moment of the catastrophe on the Tianqing continent, the enchantment of light was broken, but the executors who did not control the Dudi Sifong continent took action to maintain order. This is also an extremely strange thing. On the other side, Xiao Yang and the little girl, who had just submerged in the space crack, depended on each other for life, constantly avoiding the suffocating space storm in this space. It seems that the road to the stars is only a link for Xiao Yang to enter the space where the immortal flames are located, and the endless space storm in the surrounding space is extremely dangerous. There seems to be something wrong with the atmosphere here. As Xiao Yang walked, his heart became vigilant. Here, in the dark void, the road to the stars was extremely bright, rendering this place out. At this time, the little girl by Nen's small hand suddenly stretched out and grabbed it against the void. Tear it! An extremely harsh voice fell, and a crack appeared on the edge of the road to the stars, and the crack swallowed Xiao Yang and the two like a black hole. With a sound, the two figures disappeared at the same time. The dark, icy aura filled Xiao Yang's body. With the help of the black hole channel, Xiao Yang didn't know where he was going, but the strange light on the little girl's body kept flashing, causing a trace of holy flame in Xiao Yang's body. Fiery volatility. In particular, the fluctuations generated by the undead fire are even hotter. Do you remember the way? Xiao Yang asked in the dark passage. I don't know, but the power in my body seems to guide me to be here, and my memory is not complete. The little girl showed a calmness that did not match her age. Pimple. With a sound, the two figures seemed to have penetrated something and suddenly entered another space. This is it. Just as his sight was restored, Xiao Yang's eyes couldn't help but become dignified because of the magnificent scenery in front of him. This is the Hall of Immortal Flames. The little girl Meimu also looked at the magnificent hall in front of her and said in unison. There is only one main hall in front of it. The main hall has a magnificent range of hundreds of miles. In the main hall, there are only 10 white jade stone pillars that touch the hall from bottom to top. In the center of the hall, 10 steps are paved from bottom to top. Above, a page of golden paper stood quietly, with a flame on it. The flames were yellow, and the aura above them was eternal and ancient, like an eternal and unchanging strange aura, which permeated out. It was the golden paper that had been eroded by a smear of obscure black at this time, and that black luster made people palpitate. Wong Buzz, Do Emperor's body? At this moment, Xiao Yang's body was completely enveloped by a touch of energy like a giant in a sunny sky, and he immediately released an incomparably greedy aura. It's too simple, isn't it? Looking at the flames beating above the center of the hall in front of him, Xiao Yang was not sure that it was the immortal flame, but with what Lin Yunshu said before, he still did not act rashly, but stayed on the edge of the hall, watching the little girl said. Here, sick. I need your help. Immortal flames can be given to you after this is done. After a while, the little girl's black eyes looked at the yellow flames and said slowly, "You are the holy flame spirit of immortal flame, aren't you? Do you know what's going on?" With the strength of Dodi's body, Xiao Yang also smelled a familiar aura. "I don't know. I can only remember. I seem to have been expelled by some guys. After leaving here, my strength was endangered and I fell into a deep sleep," the little girl said with extremely heavy eyes. "A foreign evil race." Xiao Yang put away the body of Emperor Do and said softly, "Maybe, and their purpose is probably holy flame." The little girl shook her head and said, with a rare dignified flash in her eyes, "Pure heart." Xiao Yang immediately remembered something when he heard the words. The power of the holy flame is a deadly threat to the evil races outside the realm, but they don't know how to research the pure heart, which is enough to suppress the treasure of the holy flame. Now they are looking for the holy flame. I am afraid that it is also to suppress the holy flame and greatly weaken it. The power in 1,000 worlds. I'll do it when I'm ready. The little girl seemed impatient and asked, "Go ahead, correct them, and leave the rest to me." Xiao Yang said with a smile, as long as he doesn't encounter a mid-stage 7-star fighting immortal or above, he probably won't have any problems. It is the easiest and most effective way to solve some minor sequelae. "Okay." The little girl agreed, and immediately Bai Nen raised her little hand and pointed to the hall. Pointing at the core flame of the hall, the little girl's eyes suddenly closed, and a stream of Sanskrit mantras fell off her body in essence, traversing the limitations of the void, facing the dead grey hall. "Fly away." Bang bang bang. The pale yellow incantation just entered the hall, and deafening voices continued to sound, and in the deepest part, a rare black gas slowly fell off from the golden paper. Is the spirit of immortal flame Saint Flame finally back? Then, let this king stay here forever. A demonic roar, accompanied by an extremely majestic force, swept away from the hall. Boom. The magic sound turned into a huge wave of sound, and shot at the little girl with overwhelming force. Wong buzzing. At the critical moment, on Xiao Yang's body, an amber flame exuded an endless aura of awe and sacredness, wrapping the two together. As for the magic sound tide, when it hit the flame on Xiao Yang's body, quietly disintegrated and passed away. "Master of the holy flame?" At this moment, the evil voice above the hall was extremely surprised. "Evil Eye King, I'm back, this time, I'll send you to hell." After a while, the little girl's voice became different from usual, and the sacredness was like an ethereal bird that made people jump. "Saint Yang is in control, Xiao Yang, the owner of the Endless Fire territory." Xiao Yang walked step by step, facing the hall. Wong buzzing. Hearing Xiao Yang speak, a pool of extremely evil black air dripped down from the golden paper, and immediately turned into a man. Behind the man, traces of yellowish flames beat slowly, framing his face like a murderer without blinking an eye. "Immortal flame?" Looking at the flame behind the evil Xiao Yang couldn't help but speak. "That flame is definitely the power of the holy flame, but even if the evil people outside the territory have a pure heart, they can only seal the holy flame at most. How can an evil person master the holy flame?" Many questions plagued Xiao Yang. "I, the evil Eye King of the evil tribe outside the territory, suffer to death." Looking at this scene, in the endless hall, countless thick black auras of death, like a series of ferocious and evil giant pythons, roared towards Xiao Yang. In the early stage of the 7 stars fighting immortals. Xiao Yang smiled slightly when he saw this, and a war-loving aura was released. The evil-eyed emperor at the early stage of 7-star fighting immortals was at most the second-ranked guy among the emperors of heaven and earth. In the past, it was like a gulf to Xiao Yang, but now, it is inevitable to fight. Boom. The deafening magic sound spread out from the body of the evil-eyed emperor, and instantly turned into a substantive magic sound, roaring out of the hall of immortal flames. Squeaky. Seeing this, Xiao Yang protected the little girl behind him, and a layer of amber crystals of ability continued to emerge on top of his body. Amber flame soul fire, holy flame armor. This is also through the power of the devil. After the armor of the devil, Xiao Yang's mastery of Sheng Yang has been improved to a higher level. The amber saint flame armor was like an amber crystal that tightly protected Xiao Yang's body, like a reel of war, with extremely terrifying power swept out from his body. Just after the incomparably evil black magic voice touched Xiao Yang's body, it instantly drowned like a moth to a flame. Bastard. Seeing this, the evil eye emperor saw the demonic energy around his body constantly boiling, and there was an indescribable strange fluctuation in the evil eyes. Hungu ruler. Xiao Yang did not talk nonsense, The Hungu ruler appeared in his hand behind him, and with the help of the explosion technique, his body jumped up abruptly and went directly to the Evil Eye Emperor. Boom! With a sound, the Evil Eye Emperor looked at Xiao Yang's fearless behavior, smiled slightly, raised his hands at the same time, and an extremely evil energy arrow condensed out and flew towards Xiao Yang's oncoming line. Shoot away! The metal-like touch, the harsh sound shook the hall, and a moment later, with the blessing of Xiao Yang's power, Hung Jiu Kai broke through the evil arrow in one fell swoop, with an unstoppable divine force. Go to the Evil Eye Emperor. Evil Eye, blood eats the sky. Seeing Xiao Yang's tyrannical attack, Emperor Xiao Ai's face showed a strange sneer. Immediately, a gleam of light suddenly flashed in his pupils, and he rushed towards Xiao Yang with the momentum of lightning. Careful. That's an extremely evil pupil technique. At this time, the little girl behind her seemed to remember something, and a strong sense of worry emerged from her eyes. Because he seems to have been defeated by this attack at the beginning, the Evil Eye Emperor is a foreign evil race who specializes in soul power so that he can use his pupil technique to attack. If he is hit by his pupil technique, I am afraid. This Evil Eye Emperor and Medusa's petrified pupil have the same purpose, but their accomplishments in pupil art are very different. Humph. Xiao Yang didn't mean to stop, he still used the power of the holy flame armor, and the Hungu ruler on the palm of his hand approached heavily, but the 4 layers of soul in the body shook uncontrollably. A circle. The atmosphere of the circle is as vast as the sea, sweeping out. When the invisible pupil attack hit Xiao Yang a few meters away, it was suddenly dissipated by a colorless and transparent soul force. How is that possible? At this moment, the pupils of the originally rebellious Evil Eye Emperor suddenly shrank, and a mouthful of extremely dark evil blood spurted out, bloodshot in his pupils. Obviously, because Xiao Yang cracked his attack, he suffered a lot. Injury. However, this cannot be blamed on Emperor Xiao Ai. After all, he is an Emperor-level alien from outside the territory. He is even more powerful in the early stage of 7-star fighting immortals, and his soul power has also reached the realm of 2 void. Today, he can obliterate most of the 7-star fighting immortals. Humans. Unfortunately, Xiao Yang's soul power has already broken through the 2 imaginary. After the soul power reached Hua Yuan, Xiao Yang found that his perceived power range was wider, and for a guy with a small strength gap like the Evil Eye Emperor, his every move could not escape. Own perception. It may be rude to say that the improvement of soul power is not only of great help to the alchemist, but also allows Xiao Yang to perceive the next move of the Evil Eye Emperor in advance. Now the Xiao Eye Emperor's every move is in Xiao Yang's hands. In the line of sight, there is no suspense of victory or defeat. Take out your strongest blow, otherwise you won't have a chance. After a fight, Emperor Xiao Ai used a lot of tricks, but to Xiao Yang, the latter's pupil attack was just a joke. That is the absolute gap of soul power. Humble human being, take a blow from me. Myriad Eyes body, demon soul. Hearing Xiao Yang's indomitable sarcasm deeply hurt Emperor Xiao Ai's heart. Although he was only the bottom of the Emperor class, when would a 6-star fighting immortal be born? Humans in the midterm can also despise themselves so much. At this moment, the blood glow in the eyes of the Evil Eye Emperor skyrocketed, and his eyes locked tightly on Xiao Yang. At the same time, 2 blood glow rays proliferated. They are extremely evil, with the special power to destroy all things, pierce through the void, shoot out from the eyes of the evil-eyed emperor, and shoot away at Xiao Yang. That's the way to go. Swallowing flame technique. Looking at Emperor Xiao Ai's terrifying attack, Xiao Yang not only did not have any fear, but a surge of excitement emerged in his eyes, and his strength instantly increased to the level of 6-star fighting immortal perfection. His arm firmly grasped Hungu the ruler, wrapped in amber holy flame armor, jumped suddenly, and directly attacked with the 2 bloodlights. Devil soul possessed. Little human, let this emperor fall. Looking at the 2 who were deadlocked in the middle of the hall, the evil-eyed emperor waved his hand, and an evil soul shadow vaguely wrapped in a pale yellow flame wrapped around his body, covering the incomparably evil spirit. His aura was rendered to the limit, and he suddenly waved towards Xiao Yang's location. For a time, the entire hall changed color, and even those sacred white jade pillars hummed and shook, extremely uneasy. Hungu. Saint Mark / The void behind evil-eyed emperor was wriggling strangely, and then a giant ruler flashing with an unusually dazzling flame Saint pattern easily hit his body. Boom. The holy pattern in the center of the ancient ruler was the hand of Tuor Shiguni. At this time, with the help of Xiao Yang's enhancement, it was like a scorching sun, shining with endless sacred majesty, and amber flames lingered around the ruler, completely destroying the Evil Eye Emperor. Burn up. At this moment Evil Eye Emperor's eyes filled with a dead gray, obviously from the man in front of him. he really smelled a wave of death. Want to go? The Great Thousand World is not a place where you evil people come and leave when they want to. Let's fall here completely. Looking at the eyes of the Emperor Xiao Yan, he glanced at the flames of golden paper on the steps in the center of the hall. The body slowly became illusory, obviously trying to escape from here. Boom. Acacia Flame Domain and Immortal Flame Domain emerged at the same time, directly blocking all escape routes. Coupled with the emergence of the source of amber holy flame in his hand, Xiao Yan was like a judge who controls life and death, and he remains high. No. At this moment, Xiamu's body was cold, and a downright horror filled his body. With a sound, the Emperor Xiamao didn't have any chance to resist, but screams continued to emerge. After a moment, it was actually under the action of Xiao Yang's incomparably sacred Holy Flame Domain and Holy Flame, and the ashes disappeared. The extraterritorial evil clan that is as strong as the Emperor level has become so vulnerable in Xiao Yang's hands now, and Xiao Yang's growth rate is also slowly increasing at a terrifying speed. After the Evil Eye Emperor was obliterated by Xiao Yang's refining, it turned into a white smoke, slowly lingering in the void of the hall, with Xiao Yang's amber flame burning soul fire. I am afraid that after a few minutes, this will not last forever, and he is still trying to subdue it. The Evil Eye Emperor of Immortal Flame will also completely fall here. As for the traces of the source of immortal flames swallowed by the Evil Eye Emperor, there was nothing he could do at this time, and they disappeared together with his fall. Wang buzzing. At this time, a cold and evil object emerged out of Xiao Yang's body directly out of his control. It was a demonic cube that was sealed by Xiao Yang with the power of holy flame for dozens of layers. At this time, it suddenly fell out of Xiao Yang's soul realm, as if there was something in the hall that was enough to attract it. Suck it tilde the Rubik's Cube just appeared, and suddenly looked at the white mist that the Evil Eye Emperor turned in front of him and suddenly sucked, accompanied by a strange voice. The last trace of the evil smoke and the weak holy flame power of the Xiao Emperor was directly swept away. The Rubik's Cube was devoured. After absorbing this trace of power, the Rubik's Cube returned to Xiao Yang's hands quite spiritually. A faint aura resisted the flames on the golden paper in front of him, and devoured the evil spirits. The weight of the Rubik's Cube of the Empress of the Eye has clearly changed from before. What's the situation? Seeing this, Xiao Yang hurriedly panicked. All of this happened in an instant, causing Xiao Yang to react before he could react. In order to hide the traces of the Devil's Rubik's Cube, Xiao Yang tightly sealed dozens of layers with the fire of holy flame in the soul realm. With such a method, this Rubik's Cube could be shattered instantly, and it actually devoured the last trace of Evil Eye Emperor's power. Why devour the evil power of this extraterritorial evil race? It's a little heavier, about 5% of the volume of the Rubik's Cube. Xiao Yang carefully used his soul power to sense, and found that the Rubik's Cube has changed a little now. In the corner of Xiao Yang's Rubik's Cube, he can already clearly feel some accumulated power. These forces are trying to fill the Devil's Rubik's Cube, and they echo the suppressed Devil's power in Xiao Yang's body. And Xiao Yang always had a hunch. It seemed that after completely filling the Rubik's Cube, would he not be devoured by the Devil's soul when he was demonized? If it wasn't for the help of Emperor Yenjie and Fenju, I'm afraid Xiao Yang would not be able to resist the Devil's backlash by himself, and then. But now the Emperor Yenjie has fallen into darkness and seems to be damaged. As for Fenju, it is extremely mysterious, so next time, I can only rely on myself. Forget it, let's do business. After thinking about it, I couldn't think of a reason, so I didn't want to. This girl, what's going on? After putting away the demon cube, Xiao Yang looked at the little girl in front of him, but found a rare and decisive wave in the girl's beautiful eyes. That is the fluctuation of holy flame, and an arrogance that looks like death. At this time, the little girl's body was shining with a faint yellow liquid, and she walked towards the golden paper. Thank you. After Shurenshi, the little girl behind him came to the golden paper, and bowed heavily to Xiao Yang, and then slowly became illusory. A pale yellow flame fell off the golden paper and lingered. Looking at her, it actually echoed the flames on the golden paper in the center of the hall. Wang buzzing. Before Xiao Yang could speak, the little girl's figure poured directly into the flames, as if supporting the combustion, and the faint yellow flames that were about to go out suddenly ignited like a raging fire. Thank you. Seeing the sacrifice of life and death by the holy flame spirit in front of him, Xiao Yang did not stop him but bowed heavily to express his respect for the holy flame and the holy flame spirit. The birth of the holy flame, to a certain extent, has already existed to protect the holy flame. Now the immortal flame has been swallowed up by the Evil Eye Emperor, and it is on the verge of bleak. For more than 100 years or tens of thousands of years, this holy flame will not bloom any luster. The action of the holy flame spirit just now, using his own blood as a guide, burned all the source power in his body and injected it into the golden paper flame. Doing so requires one's own life, but it is enough to make immortal Yang burst into his own brilliance. This little girl's action undoubtedly won Xiao Yang's admiration from the bottom of her heart. How many people in the world have such a profound sense of righteousness? Boom! After the breath, all the vitality of the little girl was instantly extinguished, and the faint flame on the golden paper erupted with a very bright yellowish luster at this moment. At the same time, the immortal fire in Xiao Yang's body was also out of control, and broke out directly and wrapped around the immortal fire. Immortal fire. Immortal flame. What is immortality and immortality? Xiao Yang didn't rush to swallow the immortal flame, he also wanted to see what anomalies would happen to the immortal fire and the immortal flame. And now that Xiao Yang's body has been tempered by the power of the dragon god transformation and the power of the devil, plus the power of the 6-star fighting immortal middle stage, swallowing the 18th ranked immortal flame, he no longer needs any auxiliary medicine pills, unless swallowing the top ranked only the holy flames before the 14th need the aid of medicinal pills. The golden paper is extremely white, and it seems to be a breeding ground for holy flames. A steady stream of gentle power is released to nourish the immortal flame. The entanglement of fire, vaguely, an extremely tyrannical immortal aura swept the entire palace. Immortal flame. Xiao Yang couldn't help laughing when he smelled this trace of immortality. The characteristics of the immortal fire is that it breaks and then stands, and Xiao Yang is also looking forward to what the characteristics of the immortal flame are. After the breath, the grey immortal fire quietly returned to Xiao Yang's body. In the entire hall of immortality, only the pale yellow flame was left beating on the golden paper. It was like an elf of fire, and it was like a newborn baby, jumping happily, each jump releasing a yellowish breath. That's the taste of immortality. Give me your power. I will personally guard this great world for you. Seeing immortal Yang's actions like this, Xiao Yang waited for a quarter of an hour until immortal Yang calmed down. Fang Xiai's body was surrounded by amber flames and soul fire, and he said in a very heavy tone, "Immortal Yang is now similar to a new life, but he still has an extreme hatred for the evil power of the evil Eye Emperor." Xiao Yang also noticed this, and just said, "Otherwise once immortal Yang riots, it will waste a lot of time." The pale yellow flame heard the words, and the flame shook violently. It seemed to smell a familiar smell from the amber flame on Xiao Yang's body. The ranking is even more tyrannical. After a few minutes, the pale yellow flames did not hesitate, their body turned into a golden crossbow arrow, fell off the golden paper, and immediately shot towards Xiao Yang's body. "Thank you." When Xiao Yang saw this, the big stone in his heart finally fell. The next step is to reach that enviable step. Devour the holy flame and realize the realm of immortality and immortality. In the dimly lit hall, a thin man was sitting slightly upright. On his body, strips of pale yellow flames walked back and forth, like blood wandering back and forth in his body, slowly flowing over his body, as if he was checking what. And that kind of fluctuations set off Xiao Yang's whole person like a stone statue from ancient times to the present. There is no movement. If there is not one after another breathing on the body, I am afraid it will really give people an illusion. It was just with the appearance of this kind of action, the power in Xiao Yang's body was slowly approaching saturation. The power in the middle stage of 6-star Dozian and Fenju revolved together. That kind of terrifying fluctuation was suffocating, but surrounded Xiao Yang's body. The source of immortal flame above became friendly with Xiao Yang, and the purpose of this was naturally to prepare for swallowing the holy flame. After all, even now that Xiao Yang has everything ready, he does not dare to act rashly. This is holy flame. If there is a mistake, that kind of result is not something Xiao Yang can bear. Immortal flame. At this moment, Xiao Yang's eyes slowly opened, and a pale yellow crystal block and a wisp of pale yellow flame quietly floated out from the palm of his hand. The combination of the two, the kind of breath that exudes, eternal and invincible, that is the power of immortal flames. In a few days, immortal flame's resistance to me has also been reduced to the lowest level, and now is the best time to devour. After swallowing the immortal flame, first see if you can use the power of the immortal flame to break through the 6-star fighting immortal, and then try to touch the immortal realm. Xiao Yang looked at the two on the palm of his hand with satisfaction, and smiled. For a few days, immortal flame surrounded his body, firstly to neutralize his own strength, and secondly for some concerns. Although he had not swallowed it for a long time, Xiao Yang also understood that it was because of the inside of his body. It was caused by the power of the devil, so he did not act rashly, but carefully adjusted his breath and let immortal Yang investigate, because Xiao Yang had the confidence to hide the power of the devil perfectly, so it was only a matter of time. Let's do it. After taking a breath, the corners of Xiao Yang's mouth rose, and his body was spinning at a high speed, and a terrifying suction force permeated out from the depths of his body. Time does not wait for me, and there are still many things that Xiao Yang needs to do personally, so when the strength in the body reaches saturation, there is no hesitation. To swallow the holy flame, it is still necessary to swallow the light yellow flame into the body and refine it, so that it can be considered a success, and then use the burning judgment to improve the skill and level. Boom! The pale yellow flame just emerged, and it suddenly turned into a pool of pale yellow lava, bursting with extremely hot high temperature and immortal power, slowly flowing down from Xiao Yang's nose. Even Xiao Yang was so scorched by the immortal flame, the skin on his body became red for a while, like blood-red crystal stones. The degree of redness was palpitating. Obviously without the help of medicinal herbs, he hurriedly devoured the Holy Spirit. Yang, the torture he suffered was so terrifying, but it was still within Xiao Yang's tolerable range. Cece. Now Xiao Yang can only forcefully grit his teeth, sweat flowing uncontrollably from his forehead, a breath of oppression permeates out, controlling the soul power and fighting spirit in the body to melt the pale yellow the vindictive aura that was compressing from the inside of the body was Xiao Yang. But also his complexion changed drastically, but Xiao Yang also understood that there was no such thing as food in this world. His heart was extremely heavy, and he kept resisting. The erosion of the immortal melt, and what makes Xiao Yang the most happy, with the erosion of the immortal flame, the aura in his body seems to have become illusory due to the power of the immortal flame, and it seems that his flesh and blood has absorbed a trace of the power of immortality. For Xiao Yang, it is naturally excellent. It is strange to say that the immortal emperor is only the peak of the Do Emperor, but he can use the immortal flame and immortal golden body to deal with two emperor-level foreign evil races at the same time. That kind of existence can be a truly respectable powerhouse in the world. Now, when Xiao Yang was devouring immortal flame, he just realized that the power of immortal flame may not be as tyrannical as immortal flame, but that immortal power is exactly what he needs. Xiao Yang's power will skyrocket. Immortal flame, the fire is light yellow, and the shape of the holy flame stands in a bar shape all day long. It is said that the previous owner was the immortal emperor, and the immortal emperor became famous. The immortal golden body is one of the best terrifying fighting skills in the world. As for the specific prestige, I am afraid it is unknown, but being able to deal with the two Dozion level foreign evil races with the peak strength of Do Di, as long as they are not fools, they all know how terrible it is. Just when Xiao Yang was standing in the hall, the golden paper suddenly shook violently and slowly, and an old phantom, like a loving old man, descended into the hall. This guy's aura. It's a bit familiar. The old man's shadow just appeared, his pale yellow eyes swept lightly, and he first circled the hall, where the evil aura had been clearly cleaned up, and Zaidu glanced at him. Xiao Yang, who was struggling to swallow the immortal flame, had a look of relief in his eyes. Ah, tear it up. At this time, Xiao Yang naturally couldn't care about the emptiness of the old man. He focused on the situation in his body with all his heart, and a terrifying scream echoed in the hall. Oh, the body of a fighting emperor? This little guy is probably the guy in the so-called burning incense pavilion who has obtained my body as a Do Emperor. After a while, looking at the illusory giant figure around Xiao Yang, the old man muttered slowly www.mtlnovel.com. After speaking, he looked at Xiao Yang carefully, and his body turned into an extremely bright golden ripple. The smell seemed to be somewhat similar to the legendary immortal golden body. Bang bang bang! A heart-wrenching roar filled Xiao Yang's mind, his pupils burst red, and blue veins burst out on his arms, but the immortal flame melted in his body that was extremely stubborn from the very beginning. At this time actually, under Xiao Yang's dazzling soul power, it was slowly compressed and injected into the sea of fighting chi. Get in here! Seeing victory in sight, Xiao Yang roared, and the majestic power in his body immediately suppressed immortal Yang. Holy flame crystal! For a time, the countless immortal flames in Xiao Yang's body were driven into the Saint Flame Crystal of Do Chi Si by Xiao Yang, and Xiao Yang was relieved and his head fell directly. It's a success. Wait, who is this guy? Immortal Emperor? And the angle where Xiao Yang's head fell just had a panoramic view of the old man's figure, and for a while, a touch of shock and joy emerged in Xiao Yang's heart. With the Immortal Emperor, will the immortal golden body be far behind? This video will end here.